the Zeri into Ezreal matchup is interesting because both of these are scaling lanes, right? You're not picking Ezreal to win lane, and you're definitely not picking Zeri necessarily to hard stomp. You want to get the Triforce into Triforce into Titanic Hydra, into that kind of build, right? The Runen, you want to go that super high scaling. That's when she really starts to activate. Same thing with Ezreal, right? Manamune, Essence Reaver, possibly Cyrilda's, or if he wants to go more for the third item, Prowler's Claw, or even more famously, we've seen the Crown start, right? Or the Crown third item. I think, if you're going to play that kind of game, Zeri wins that, I think, 9 times out of 10. If you're just playing for scaling lanes, and it's just, I don't know, Red has to be on proactive, right? They have the Xin Zhao, they have the Gnar, like, they have to be pedal to the metal. We're going to put Kabum on the back foot. If Kabum come out of this down maybe 1.5k gold lead at the end of laning phase, they're doing fine, in my opinion.
Yeah. We'll see if, and that is kind of what we expect out of Kabum, this well-rounded team that can just maintain a cool head and get through to the late game while not giving up any massive advantages to the enemy team. We can see the fan vote on the screen. They're definitely in favor of Red Canids. I mean, the defending champions, it's not a bad thing to go forward, but looking at the stats on the screen as well, House with 7 solo kills to Grevthar's only 2, and despite the fact that House, it does feel like a bit of a quieter player, a bit of a scaling player, he is not a slouch. He is very much not a slouch, and neither is Jojo, looking for the hurley hook onto Skuro, with the aftershock giving him a bit of space to walk away.
Yeah, and just look at kind of the runes on the side of Red versus Kabum, right? Skuro ended up opting for the Glacial Augment instead of the Aftershock. That screams to me that he wants to be more utility-based. He wants to slow a lot of these people down, right? Reduce their damage as well, in specific Ryze and Ezreal. So Jojo going Aftershock just kind of screams to me like, oh, I want to get these hooks in lane. I want to be tanky. I want to absorb as much damage as I can and really give Teton an easier laning phase into this Zeri. Both AD carries actually ended up taking cleanse here, which is very smart, right? House, Skuro, even Wiz in some aspect, you can cleanse all of those stuns. And on the side of Red, you have the Nautilus, you have the Grevthar with the Root, and Everfrost. There's a lot to cleanse, and I think movement speed is king in this game.
Yeah, you gotta go fast in this game, because if you get caught out, you're probably gonna get knocked down. We'll see Kabum wasting no time themselves, perhaps looking for top lane, but Grigo clears out that wave with no issue, and it will just be the CS lead building in both mid and top. These solo laners for Kabum, very, very strong, and we'll see if maybe Red can find a way back in the bot lane, as mid and top seem like tough calls.
Yeah, and interesting to see Parang's itemization. He ended up going with the Doran's Ring. I would have expected possibly a Doran Shield, maybe anticipating all of the poke coming out from the mini Gnar form of Guigo, but it's different. It's on the other side, right? Guigo ended up going Doran Shield here and really just not willing to take a lot of punishment. Luckily gets into Mega Gnar form, right, before the dive that Wiz wants to execute. And now, look at Viego. He's back to farming. He can't really do much, and same thing with Xin Zhao. But at least Xin Zhao, can win, in my opinion, the 1v1. It's a lot scarier for Wiz to walk into these darker corners while, on the side of Aegis, you kind of walk in and say, you know what? I'm going to find Wiz. I'm going to try to kill this guy. I'm going to go into his jungle. I'm going to kind of be a bully. And right now, his bot lane is shoving. Grevthar was able to get the recall off as well and TP back in. So House has to leave. So what can Aegis do? Right, is my opinion. What is he going to do on this Xin Zhao? If he's just going to keep farming, then yeah, there you go. Recall. Okay, yeah, but he has to be proactive. Yeah, he has to be proactive. He has to be on the forefront. He's got to be trying to make plays. You cannot let, in my mind, Kabum just farm safely and scale.
Exactly, that is the death of many a team so far in this split. And looking towards top lane, Parang with the Ignite and the Flash, with no spellbook for TP or any craziness up there. Perhaps that is the way to get it done. Grigo has TP'd back. He is a bit down with some extra null magic mans to keep himself alive, but Aegis on that top side as well with the pickaxe. Big damage going to come out of the Xin Zhao if he can get on top of Parang. And Wiz is way down on the bot side. Parang getting poked out too. He's got the ward, but he might have some company up in top lane before long.
Yeah, he's going to see Aegis come into this top lane, but just because you see him doesn't mean, you could really do much. Parang still has to kind of respect Aegis and see, play a little bit safer and not bully Guigo as much, right? So he's going to be like, okay, well, I saw Zin's out topside. He can be there in the drop of a hat. So he's going to have to play a little bit more safer. And Wiz ended up taking a super, super long farming route, just backed now. I'm assuming he's going to come back either with the Divine Sunder. I've seen Death's Dance on him. I've seen a lot of different builds on Viego recently, just because of kind of the changes that happened to him, I believe, about a patch or two ago. But ended up, he's just going to get the Divine Sunderer. His second item choice is going to be the really interesting part.
I did really like seeing How's immediately stepping up and using the Scryer's Bloom to check where Aegis was once that ward was killed. So Parang, he doesn't just get frozen on, he can't just sit back for ages knowing that, Aegis might be here or he might not. How's goes and checks it and gives Parang the information he needs as to whether he can push up or not. So the team for Kabum working well to keep track of Aegis, to avoid him getting the drop on them and keep those advantages building across that mid and top side. As we saw, Wiz maybe looking for something mid lane, couldn't find it. He's now gone onto top side. Aegis into this bot lane could go for an early CBLOL 6.5 minute dragon.
Yeah, I like that. Using your bot side, understanding that Desave did hit the recall, so now they have a little bit more initiative onto the dragon. And Rise is just going to be able to keep House in this mid lane, and Wiz content on farming. Can't really pick up any top camps either. Rift Herald isn't up, right? So very solid play from Aegis, right? Using the advantages, using what he has, and Wiz can't really answer back with anything else.
Exactly. It may not be proactive in a ganking sense, but he has got that early objective, the next dragon being the Ocean Rift. So we'll see how much priority both these teams want to put on that when it comes around. We could see a bit more items in the inventories at that point. Maybe Kabum will feel a little bit more comfortable shoving up, as so far they have just been accruing those leads. All three of the solo laners are ahead. Aegis, though, the jungler, the spearhead for Red, has a bit of a lead himself. So this is kind of what I expected to go through. We saw Jojo attempting to gank mid a couple times, but just couldn't find the angle. House wasn't going to give it to him, and now he's on a little bit of a journey again, but he's gone past the pink ward for Kabum's side, so he's not going to be finding anything on this one, I dare say.
He's just getting some vision down, being a menace, right? You know what? I could be anywhere. That's what he's saying. Jojo's literally saying, I could be anywhere. Bot lane, mid lane, top lane, river. I'll be in your jungle at blue buff, Wiz. So you better watch out. That's essentially what he's saying. And paired up with Aegis on the Xin Zhao, that's a very scary combo to run into, as Desave pops the ultimate.
Drops the lightning crash and gets a big trade onto Titan as well. And as soon as the Nautilus goes, here comes a bit of the problem for Ezreal in this Zeri matchup, is you have to hold on to that E with both hands. If you lose it and Desave gets next to you, but hang on a second, we've got another catch near this mid lane. Skuro dives forward, doesn't quite stay in tower range, and the ults are blocked by Aegis' Crescent Guard. Not enough ignite ticks. A very close moment for Red.
Yeah, and that was just Aegis' ultimate. Doing its job, right? Essentially, right? Blocks just enough spheres from Syndra to not get, bursted out. But with that, right? Essentially, that's equivalent to a kill, right? Aegis can't come back in. They have to take the recall. Obviously, Ezreal can't follow up on this Herald because he just got bursted out by Desave. So maybe not a kill in the sense of seeing in the scoreboard, but definitely worth it, as Ezreal ultimate coming out flying by. Wiz gonna pick up the Herald here, and now it's super good from Kabum, right? Doing all that, investing all those ultimates, now you get a nice Herald. And where is Wiz gonna send it? Is he gonna send it in the top lane with Parang? That's already one plate down there. Is he gonna start to send it mid lane? Like, he's got his bevy of options, and I want to see where he's gonna put it.
Exactly, as we see Guigo completed the Hex Drinker up in that top lane, wasted no time building defense against Parang, and does seem to be taking a bit more of a stance in this lane. Still a bit down in the CS, as is the rest of the map for Kabum besides that jungle role, but they've got that dragon, and they have gotten away from the attempts to make plays from Kabum. But a quiet early game, I think, as we mentioned, I would give the favor to Kabum there. They've got the Zeri, they've got the Rumble scaling, and Red, they do have a solid mid game of their own, but if they're not ahead, I think they're going to struggle to leverage it.
Yeah, and they also have Viego, right? A scaling jungle pick. As much as I hate the champion, Trajan, if you are playing it against something like this where it's super quiet, super relaxed, and you're just allowed to farm your camps and PvE all day, then yeah, I think Viego's a very fine pick. I think he can come into these fights and do a lot of damage. Props on Kabum for playing the early game very well, not giving anything to Red, but I think this is just kind of a Red really just not being able to do anything with this Zinzao pick and just choosing to pick these kinds of scaling laners, right? Or this kind of, Rise, Ezreal, these kind of safe laners that can't really set you up for much until they get more items. And Jojo, although he has tried to roam and has tried to get something off, House has just been super good at avoiding all these ganks. And now Kabum possibly making a proactive play onto Aegis here. Dragon's up in a minute.
They've gone across the scuttle, so Aegis gets out of dodge, wastes no time, as Hal's deep behind enemy lines once again has been a very strong presence all around that mid lane. He's been his own deep boards, just running into the enemy jungle, scoping out where Aegis is, pressuring Grevthar the whole time, and he's farming more than 10 CS a minute already at the 11-minute mark, which isn't actually that easy to do. You've got to soak up a lot of extra gold from camps and things, not just your lane, to achieve that one at this point in the game. Now they're giving him that Herald mid as well, funneling more gold into his pocket from the plates. This is exactly what Kabum loves to do, right? You prepare House, you farm him up, you scale him up, and that 20-minute mark, he will start one-tapping people. Syndra does not mess about.
Yeah, and I like the investment into this, right? Because, Syndra's able to get the stun off, he's able to burst somebody out. Like you said, Aegis almost died through his ultimate. I can't imagine what's going to happen to somebody like Ezreal, somebody like Rise, if they get caught out without any shielding, without any sums or anything like that. But Red actually are in first onto this dragon, or at least Aegis was first onto this dragon, but Jojo and Titan finally moving. Now, House can do some shenanigans. You can steal at Syndra. I've seen it one too many times where Syndra can just steal an objective, right, with the essentially the EW combo that she has, but Wiz in the mist.
Red committing to it. They've got the dragon, but in goes Skrull. The ultimate Wiz gets out of dodge with the Nautilus ult, forcing him back. But House flashes in. Doesn't find a kill to Teton, though, and Guigo's TP'd in as well. Grevthar there with the Rise ult, gets his buddies out, and a big Gnar backwards for the stuns. Gets a bounce through with the Blasco. Now Parang shows up, and the low health bars from Red are finally being ticked over. 3 kills for Kabum, though they do lose the dragon.
They lose the dragon, but a kill goes on to all the right people, right? One for Wiz, one for Parang, and another one for Syndra, right? One for House there. So 3-0, clean fight from, I would say, Kabum here. And Dragon ends up going down. Engage comes from Skuro, right? Super early. Desave is just dancing around these fights, and House is really the winner here, right? Getting the stun off. Guigo hits a massive ultimate, but who's there? Grevthar has to flash in, gets hit by the blast plant, can't do much, has to watch as his team just gets dismantled. Props to Guigo for doing what he can, but his team was just not ready. Titan was out of the fight before he could even throw a Q because of what House did, and then you just had Parang with a beautiful Rumble ultimate. Hasn't lost a step, in my opinion, on that champion, and it's just a lot of damage coming out from Kabum.
It really is, and it's a mid-game comp for Red that hasn't even gotten first items on anyone at that point. I'm not sure that Titan even had his Essence Reaver by that fight. I think he might have just bought it. There's no damage whatsoever in that comp at this stage in the game. They need their first and second items before they can take fights like this, and it looked to me like they were going to peel off it. Aegis and the bot lane were like, this is getting a bit sketchy, guys, but then they were like, nah, we got this, nah, we're going to win. And they got completely collapsed. They got 3-0 killed in that. They get one dragon, as we saw our production Rose showed us that it is a Hextech Rift, and if I'm Kabum, I'm like, alright, get the useless non-Hextech dragons out of the way. Now we shall just 4-stack these. Every dragon, I imagine they're going to be there ready to pick them up and get what is potentially the strongest soul in the game.
Yeah, and it's scary too because of what the Hextech Rift does as well, right? I mean, Wiz on a flank, Skrull on a flank, these kinds of champions, even Guigo on their side, you can get some interesting flanks off with these Hextech gates, and I like it when teams actually utilize some of these gates and actually use them to their advantage. So we're gonna see how they use both, obviously, the Hextech Dragons and also the Hextech Rift to really start swaying and getting these unfair fights, in my opinion. Right now, Red is on the back foot. You just look at the total gold right now. Hal's at the top, Parang in second place.
Just all the carries.
This is what Kabum is known for, right? There's solo lanes, as Desave actually goes up in gold just now. But yeah, there's solo lanes just kind of stomping, and Desave quietly but surely getting a lead somehow, some way. And what does Red do in this situation?
Oh, Aegis is caught on the wrong side of the wall, has to flash with the Crescent Guard to escape that equalizer from Parang, and Kabum feeling a little bit more confident now. They've got items coming through themselves, mythics on all three of those top side members. Desave not far behind as well, but something that really is resonating with me from this game is something that you said in the pregame, that preparation is so key in these best of fives, and it seems to me that every single thing that Red have done, Kabum have known exactly what to do. Almost like they knew they were going to do it before they did it. You know, the Jojo roams never amounted to anything. They knew exactly where he was and where he was going to be there. When Aegis was topside, House is already Scryers blooming in to show where he is. You know, they're not getting caught by anything that Red is doing. Perhaps it's just that Red is playing a little bit by the book. It's like they expect the Nautilus roam, so he roams up the river and he doesn't do anything, you know, out of the ordinary. But it does seem like Kabum are so ready for Red Canids. And Guigo has no shot to escape from that one.
Yeah, the second Rift Herald comes down. They're probably going to get 2 charges, possibly a third one as well. Yeah, nobody's backing on the side of Red. Yeah, they're going to get another charge here, at least onto the Tier 2, possibly taking it. And Syndra's going to pick up that local gold. And Tier 2 local gold, that's no joke. That's like 650 into the pocket if she can pick this up. If House can pick this up on the Syndra, then, but he looks like he might pick it up.
Yeah,
that's a lot of gold. Yeah, that's a lot of gold going into the pocket. Yeah, look at that. Cashing out right now.
Even more house funneling in this game. It's getting very scary. I am not going to be in a screen's width of the Syndra if I'm on Reds, to be honest, going into the next fight. They're looking for a player their own onto Parang, who is on a ward, thinks he's being slick, but the flash hook from Jojo will nail him, and it is finally a kill on the board for Kalunga.
Yeah, that's not even Parang's fault necessarily.
Yeah.
No, who wards that? Why is that bush warded?
It literally does that. Come on, guys. Like,
yeah, he's probably just like, really? Come on.
Oh well.
Even then, Kabum. It's 4v5 right now. We go on the flank, but it's still scary.
Oh, he gets onto House. They've got to take down the Syndra and Hook to follow it up. Teton picks it up. Kabum! Maybe a little too confident in the 4v5. Desave still poking and prodding. Wiz over the wall. Will not find the Hex. Take that Soul Point now. And they'll find another kill. Another Hook. Gonna make that 4 if Skuro can get away. The Rise ult picks the wrong direction. And Desave will pepper them back with the burst fires. It's just the 2 more kills in Dragon for Red. But this Dragon Soul is looking threatening now.
Oh, it's 22 minutes, right? That's a 22-minute Dragon Soul. Red picks up 3 kills, gets onto the right members, in my opinion, right? Ezreal picks up a kill, Zinzao gets one. The replay comes in, and this is just... Howe's biting off more than he can chew. Guigo is just not respected.
Yeah,
gets the ultimate onto him.
He's got a flash.
Yeah, he just wasn't respecting the flank. I don't think they even knew where Guigo was, right? That area is pink warded, and then the rest is just, you know, Wiz trying to make a hero play. Leona trying to do what she can in terms of engage, and Desave, he's not at that point yet where he can just kind of skate around, kite back, and that is some words. I don't speak their language, but that didn't sound nice.
Yeah, and Aegis is going to walk away from the Ignite as well. Parang caught a second time in that bot lane. The momentum swinging decidedly back to Red. They are still far down in gold, but they have shown that they will punish Kabum. They cannot rest on the laurels. This is still the defending champions, guys.
Yeah, and it's their ability to make plays is really nice, right? Double Hex Drinker as well, right? Coming out from Gnar and Zinzao, right? I wouldn't even put it beneath
expecting
Titan.
It on Titan. I'm expecting them more on Titan.
yeah. Mom Memories on Titan. I wouldn't put it beneath him. That's a really, really solid build. Can help out with the House burst. Can definitely help out with, you know, if Parang tries to pick up a kill with that equalizer. He has been using it more to start these fights off, which is a fine use of it. I think the cooldown's very low. Ends up opting for the Hextech Proto Belt, though. Probably going to build into what looks like either he could go for the Shadow Flame if he wants. Could possibly opt in for Azania's, but he just picked up some raw AP right now with that needlessly large rod. And although Parang's first ultimate was very good on Rumble, I think the last couple have been slightly underwhelming. Right, hasn't been able to really do enough damage or even cut parts of the team off, which is what you kind of want to do with that champion with that ultimate. And you know, Hal's just unfortunately played a little bit too far up. It goes for the Ludens into Void Staff, which is just going to give you that true one-shot potential. So still very, very scary.
Yeah, it's got to be the Void Star for sure. When you've got multiple Merc Treads and Hex Drinkers coming in across the Rift for you, definitely the right choice for House. We saw Parang a little earlier escape from the attempted third collapse on him in that top side between his towers, so not going to fall for that one again. Is now back to the push with his team supporting him on that side of the Rift. But now I'm wondering what Kabum are going to do at this point. They've been punished a few times in a row, but they are still over 4,000 gold ahead. They are still very, very strong if they can keep House alive from that initial engage. So, are they going to slow the pace down, or are they going to keep that confidence they had in the first 20 minutes of this game?
Well, Dragon's going to be up in about a minute and a half, so whether they want to slow the game down or not, that's not going to happen. I expect Red to be onto the map, onto the Dragon, before Kabum can even think about it. And they've been doing a really good job getting in, getting priority into this river, and really setting the vision down, shoving lanes in. And they have to, on the side of Kabum, respect that flank. Guigo has been playing very, very well on this Gnar, at least in the team fights, right? Maybe he didn't have the best laning phase, was down in some gold, but his ultimates have been looking very, very good.
They certainly have. And the first one, he had a great ultimate. The team wasn't ready to give him the backup on it, but the second one was just as good, and it found the critical target in House. House does have the flash still, the Savi with both summoners. I'm watching these Kabum carries to see if they can get away from the initial play by Red Kalunga, as we now have 1 minute to the Dragon. And Kabum are here well in advance. They're putting deep vision in there. Skuro is looking, doesn't spot the pink ward there, unfortunately. Parang's getting the shove with Grevthar. No TP on that top, so I'm going to have to head down before too long.
Yeah, and he just picks up a straight Maw of Malmortius on the back,
Rips
right?
it, number 2.
Yeah. Gore into Maw, a lot of survivability there, can be super annoying. I want to see House possibly get a back off before the Dragon and pick up a stopwatch here, but unable to. They're actually just going to get the tier 2 instead, which opens up a lot more vision for them. But Grefthar on the other side gets the tier 1 to the top side. TP is down for him, though, so if he's... I think
that's all over.
Yeah, Red might just be content on giving up this Dragon. No, Grefthar is walking now. But Kabum have been able to take control of this river. Guigo holding on to the Rage Bar very, very patiently. Something's going to break out. Maybe House is going to get a nice stun.
A House backed, but he got a Fiendish Codex, not the stopwatch. He had the money for it, but did not buy it. We'll see if this bold choice is punished by Jojo again, but Skuro is the one kicking the fight off. Grevthar ultimate already comes out, just gets him closer to reunite with his team, and now Guigo ultimate has been popped, or Gnar, I should say, has been popped. He hasn't used the ultimate yet. Out goes the Equalizer, gets another big fight back, but there's no damage. It's just like the first time, but can they find the soul? Aegis picks up Hextech Soul to clean 4-0. Dragon score for Red Kalunga, but can it sway this 4v5? Aegis flashes to safety. Parang on a sliver has to escape, but Skuro tags Titan, and Wiz with the elimination now grabs that Israel form and can follow up. House with the ball slamming into Jojo will pick up another, and Red are scattered into the blue side jungle. Wiz and House on the chase. They've got to give it a bit of respect, but I think these Red members are not too long for this world. They've got towers to try and escape through. Parang on the recall right now. Dasavi around the corner. Grevthar has been caught. One left on the bounty board, and Parang will find him in the jungle.
Aegis?
Has to be a bit careful. Skuro, come and assist your boy, but Aegis goes down swinging, takes Parang with him, but will still be the last piece of the ace.
Super annoying to play against, right? Gordrinker Maw, a lot of survivability. I don't even think Parang was expecting that much damage and survivability from Aegis. But as this fight starts, we see Skuro get a nice Zenith Blade onto Jojo. They pop Guigo's Gnar here, and I think the call from Red is, just buy as much time as you can. We're going to burst this Dragon out. Beautiful ultimate again from Guigo. Buys a lot of time. House gets the ultimate down, but Wiz is just in here lurking, and I think Skuro actually plays this fight very, very well, right? Able to get the stun off onto the Ezreal. The tip of the Zenith Blade right there hits him. And Dasabe is just dancing around these fights. House has not taken a lick of damage, and Wiz just doing Wiz things on with the Viego, getting the resets, and Jason comes in. Double kill gets picked up as well. A clean, I wouldn't say a clean ace, but an ace coming out from Kabum here. But the Baron not being able to pick up because of that chase, because of what happened. Actually, Baron doesn't get picked up. Yeah, you have Hextech Soul on the side of Red, and we're going to see if that can mitigate some of this gold lead that Kabum has amassed, right? Up almost a 6K, I believe a 6K gold lead here, sorry, 8K gold lead. I can't do math. 8K gold lead for Red here.
That's 6K. You're right. That's
Is it 6K? Okay,
yeah.
okay. My glasses
Trust yourself. Trust yourself, Shibby. You're all right.
Yeah,
It's
okay,
okay.
yeah, 6,000
Yeah.
gold lead. There we go.
And it is the Hextech Soul. I think, as I said before, people would largely say, I think a lot of people think this is the strongest Soul, and with the amount of utility it even offers, the damage is huge, yes, but attack speed and ability haste as well on people like Ryze, on people like Ezreal, they love those stats, plus the slow and that true damage on there. So it's a very powerful Soul, and Kabum have to be aware of this. People like House, he's now flashless. If he gets caught again, Red certainly have the burst to take him out, and there is still no stopwatch, no Zonya's potentially in the buy, not even a Banshee's Veil perhaps for a Flash Rise route or a hook for Nautilus or any of these. He is putting it all on his own positioning. He's betting on himself this game, and we'll see if it cashes out.
And Parang just picking up the raw Rabadons for a Rumble as well. That is a lot of damage coming out from that Rumble. And, if you're confident like House, you know what? You don't need the Zonyas. Who's going to get to me? Guigo? He's probably thinking, huh? Jojo? Nah, he's not afraid of
Both people who have gotten on him more than once this game.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he played the last fight really well. Took, I think, 10% damage. But like you said, it just takes one pick from them to really just, take out House, take out Syndra. They have a lot of burst on the side, and Grevthar and Titan are scaling, right? Manamune Essence Reaver picked up for Titan here. Everfrost and Seraphs now. So, right, these Rise adjustments. I'm not going to say nerfs. I'm going to say adjustments, right? Have really, impacted the way he's going to itemize, right? He's not going to go for the Fimble Enter. Ends up going for the Seraphs. Has a little bit more oomph on his side, right? But quietly but surely, I know Desave's been having a really good game. 0-0-5 doesn't look too good scoreboard-wise, but he's been pumping out damage. He's been navigating these fights and has been doing a really good job of just not dying, which is what you want out of your AD carry.
Exactly. Zeri is a great champion at not dying. Desave playing it to a T right here. Does have two items themselves heading towards a third. This might be the third item on the recall we see channeled in the mid lane. And Desave, I think, is ready to step up. If House gets caught again, then we're going to have to deal with the 3-item Zeri. And that's something which Red might have a little bit more trouble with if they've burned all their CC on the Syndra. But we'll see how they manage that one. Potentially around the Baron, as there's a lot of bodies in the area fighting over the Vision right now. The Elder Dragon is up in 1 minute 20, and it's not even going to be at the 30-minute mark. CBLOL with the Baron or the Dragon priority in this winners bracket match. Skuro cannot find the Solar Flare onto Titan just yet.
That's fine. Throw it out. It's going to be up before any major objectives. Leona is still a champion even without the Solar Flare. Can do a lot of damage. And wow, Jojo just takes chunked out there from House. House probably looking to tick level 16 before the next fight. Hopefully he can do it on the Syndra, gets that level 3 ultimate, can really start bursting people out. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's actually not going to end up being able to take level 16 here, unfortunately. Like you said, Elder coming up in about 45 seconds. Baron is still up, and if I'm Red, I don't chance it with the Elder. Don't flip it. Don't lose a fight and Elder and lose the game all in a matter of a couple of minutes. I think you wait, you get positioning, you just wait for a House or even, Parang to overextend, because they've gotten picks, they've gotten, killed them out of position before, and it's not like it won't happen again.
Yes, I think that they've managed to make it work to this point, gotten themselves that Hextech Soul. It's never going away. All the other buffs, they may be temporary, but they have this forever, and they see Guigo on the flank right here. Kabum have been caught out by this Gnar more than once, and they're trying to make the way in the river, but Red are making it very unsafe for them to do so. You can see how far back House was sitting there. Does not want to get caught, as Red will once again use the Rise ult just to coalesce as a team, and Guigo holding that Gnar bar just perfectly below the margin.
Yeah, really doing a good job looking for a flank here. He can definitely do it. Has the flash available as well, but they're sniffing something out, Kabum. They know Guigo's here. They know he's on the flank. He's done it one too many times before. He said that trick's not going to work again. Titan throws the Ezreal ultimate out and just look at the vision for Red. Red see nothing right now, and Parang, not too scary on the flank, but still annoying. Can get a really fat ultimate off to cut them off, and that's looking like it's going to happen. Kabum is just corralling them slowly.
Yeah, Teton does spot Kerrang using that ward on the side, but can't find an inroad to push him away or get any poke down, and the Elder fully resets. Aegis now heads down to get that bot wave pushing, trying to give some sort of punish to Kabum for hanging around here so long. Meanwhile, Desave has the same idea in the mid lane, and I think Kabum, they feel like there's no pressure on them right now. They can go for this shove as Aegis returns to his squad. Now they've started up once again. Desave is going to be here before too long. Parang still has the ultimate. It resets again. Out comes Skrull ultimate. There's the equalizer, slows many members from Red, and the fight goes off in earnest. Jojo, the first to hit the fountain, but it's traded back. Both supports fall as a turret drops in the mid lane. Elder is nowhere near dead as Squeego flies in, but again, there's no follow-up, and Teton tries to catch up Parang, but a flash from the Rumble, and he'll take down members of Red. The final will fall as Kabum, they take the fight. They waited out so very long, but in the end, they get the ace for one.
Red did exactly what I said they shouldn't do. Lose the Elder fight and lose the game all in a couple of minutes. That's exactly what happened. Red were pressured to do something, right? Kabum is so far ahead in gold. They could just keep waiting out, keep the Dragon resetting. And Jojo, I'm sorry, you're not going to be able to stop this. I don't think so.
Actually, what a hook! What a massive hook. The wanted curved bullet from Jojo right there. Nails out Parang, and he's got that Hextech soul doing what he can, but it will be only a gesture of Red's fighting spirit. We do love to see it, but Kabum will